Hello all the people, it's Effectuality here. We are back on the Nimbus Craft server playing some more natural magic. I've had a little bit of an issue over the last few days when it comes to recording, and that issue would be that somebody, one of my two children, stole the wireless transmitter for my headset. So I got a Logitech, what is it, G390. It's a nice headset. I mean, it's not a professional recording thing or anything, but it gets the job done. Unless you take away the transmitting thing, in which case it is completely useless. It doesn't play music through the headphones, it doesn't record anything. Even if you plug it directly into the computer, it's nothing without the little wireless thing. So that's kind of stopped me from recording for the last couple of days, which means that, again, things have kind of jumped forward a little bit. For example, this entire room here. So this is up at the tippy top of our castle that we've decided to populate. And I've made this little room, and it's where I have my crafting altar and just a whole bunch of kind of magic inspired stuff. So, for example, we have ourselves a nice little ghast friend up here just hanging about. He's actually inside the same sort of jar as you can see the chocobo in here. All of them do this really weird, way too much caffeine head nod thing. These are supposed to be called a stasis jar, but yeah, they just, these guys don't look like they're asleep at all. So I've got a chocobo, I've got the ghast here, which is just way too big for his jar. That's why you can't see the jar at all. I do like the twitchy legs though. And then over here we've got a head-banging zombie skeleton horse, and a dragon egg, and a Ventium torch, and it's just a bunch of stuff and things that look kind of magical, so I really like it. There's space here for spells that I've made, spells that I will make. I've just left a whole bunch of books all over my table, geez, what a mess. And just all the things that you need in Ars Magica to do the spells and stuff are in here. And this crafting altar, by the way, is almost as good as it gets. You can change the sunstone that you can see up on the top and down the bottom there. You can change that for Moonstone, and it just basically, as you do better materials for it, it just means that you can add more modifiers and steps to your spells. Really, this is overkill for what I need. I mean, I'm not out to make the most complex spell ever. I just like some of the ones that I make that have a purpose. I've made a few more of those too, and I did actually record while I didn't have my headset working, because I just really wanted to record what it was I was up to when I made these spells, because it's quite funny. We have our Dark Aurum over here as well. Is it night time or is it just really dark? Yeah, it's just really dark. And there we go. These guys up here, we've got some spawners that Cube brought in for us as part of the Thorncraft mod. You can pick spawners up and move them. So he's done that, and that means that we get a nice steady supply of sacrifices for the Dark Aurum, so that we're never running out of Ethereum there. This, I think, I want to move it into the castle. Somewhere fairly nearby and close enough that when I'm banging around in here, things are happening, you know. I'm making mobs are dying, and it just means that there'll be more Ethereum for the taking. Over there it's great, but unless I'm within 16 blocks of the spawners, they don't do anything. So that's a little bit of a sad thing, you know. I can still have that one over there that just sort of passively grabs mobs from nearby, but yeah, I'm thinking I need one in here because the Ethereum usage is definitely going to ramp up. There's a few of the flickers and the flicker habitats that I was talking about. So one of them, just ignore the flowers and stuff for now. One of them is in here. Actually, there's more than one. There's a couple down in there, and those are all about these cows. Now I can stick in 2 of every kind of animal, make myself my own little Noah's Ark in here, and one of these flicker habitats here is responsible for breeding them, and the other one is responsible for the opposite. It's all about killing them. So what happens is it'll kill everything down to 2 of each animal type, and then this little broom that you can see over in the corner, out of the way Daisy, this little broom comes along and it sweeps up all of the drops from the kills because they don't just automatically get put anywhere, and it takes them and it puts them inside this chest. And the little yellow crystal that you can see on the front of the chest is a import crystal, and that just takes anything that's in this chest and puts it up over, run, here. So it'll go into this chest here, into the hopper, down into the calefactor, and the calefactor will make it duplicate, or it'll give you 2 of the forged version, the smelted version rather, and then it'll put those, there's a hopper underneath that one, it'll take those and put them down in our storage room, which is now definitely this room here, and into this chest over here. So you can see we're getting a little bit of stuff in there so far, and I'm just separating out the food as it comes, either eating it or just storing it away in this chest here. So lots of dead pigs have come to the party to give us a bit of pork there, all in the name of finding pig fat for the warding candles that are part of this mod pack. It's got some more jars of things. Cube just keeps dropping them off now. I also have a hole in the ceiling. Yes, that is on purpose. It's just so I can jump on out of here and fly away. It looks really rubbish, so I need to do something with this. Make it look like it's supposed to be a thing, as opposed to maybe a creeper died. So we've done the stuff down in there. We've done a little bit of automation. I'm not going to get really heavily into it. I just wanted to give it a bit of a try and see how it works, and it's pretty cool. Down here, I've made myself another one of these celestial prisms, just because I was finding that one wasn't really enough. Plus, I want this one to eventually do the nighttime gathering of the Ethereum. So all you do is you take these blocks of diamond off, you put blocks of moonstone on, and all of a sudden it generates at night. But moonstone's not that easy to get. I set up this flicker habitat here, which we can actually have a look in, and you can see there's one of these flicker focus. You make them out of the flickers that you catch that I was going on about before. I'll show that in action soon, because it's kind of cool, the whole catching the flickers thing. But I made this one here because the lunar tides are supposed to take any of the moonstone comets that just kind of land infrequently and drag them in to within a 10 block radius. So anything within, I think it's 128 blocks, so all the sort of active chunks around you, if there's supposed to be a moonstone comet or whatever it's called land, it's supposed to end up landing within 10 blocks of this. And so far, absolutely nothing. I've had a lot of nights. There's been a lot of nights go through in the game, and absolutely nothing. So I'm thinking probably the meteor shield that I have hiding right up in the top of this at the moment must be blocking the moonstone meteors as well, so something's going to need to change there. I might even just take that and go put it somewhere else that would be outside of this, and just chuck a chunk loader in there, and then that way it can just keep drawing in the moonstone, because I need a lot of it, man. There's 36 pieces of moonstone I need just to be able to make one of these to use at night. And then there's things like catching your flickers inside the jars, that requires moonstone. And as I said, the crafting altar, if I want to make it the best it possibly can be, that's going to need 5 of the blocks. So a lot of moonstone to get. Anyway, besides the Ars Magica stuff, I've started having a bit of a play around with Botania. Haven't done too much yet, just the first little baby steps, like getting yourself all of the different mystical flowers that are part of the pack. Basically, once you find them, you just break them, get the petals, plant the petal, use a bit of bone meal, and it'll create these tall versions of the flower. And then you can use shears, break them, chuck them up into the crafting grid here. In fact, hey, look, let's do it so that we know what I'm talking about. Break them, grab that, put it in there, and you get 4 petals back. And from those 4 petals, you can chuck 1 back in the ground, grab yourself a bit of bone meal, and just 1 of those, and it makes a whole nother tall flower. So these are an infinite source of petals. I do like that. It's really nice to not have to go hunting for stuff sometimes, especially if you're going to be using it quite a bit. Just to stand here and bone meal stuff isn't particularly exciting, but it's definitely a lot better than going caving for 3 hours to find the one thing that you need, like Ars Magica can make you do sometimes. So anyway, what is it all about? Basically, you make yourself one of these petal apothecaries. You chuck in a few of your petals after having a bit of a read-up of the Lexica Botania, which is the book for Botania. It's really well laid out, by the way, and also really loud when you open it. And it goes over everything, and it's even got a tutorial mode. Yeah, it's even got a tutorial mode that really takes you through the basics so that you understand how the whole thing works, because it's a huge pack. Anyway, you chuck some things in here. The first one you're going to make is these little pure daisies, and the pure daisies are all about just giving you some of the basic materials that you use in Botania. So that's your living rock, which is this stuff here, and the living wood, which is this stuff here. That creates things like your mana pools. It creates the little twiggy thing that you use to be able to see where your mana's going inside the mod pack. But essentially it's really easy to make if you get a little bit of stone. Not quite that little. There we go, there's a stack. Take that and put it around the pure daisy. That's why I've got this thing recessed, just so that I can chuck them in here like this and it's not sort of standing up really awkwardly and looking kind of crap. And then you just wait. As you can see the little particle effects coming off it now, that means that a transformation is taking place. And in the meantime, I'll show you, you've got this Everfull Urn, which is basically an unlimited water supply. It also has the added bonus of filling up things that require water nearby. So, for example, the Petal Apothecary, every time you make a flower, it needs to be filled back up with a bucket of water. Not if you've got one of these hanging about. That's right, just watch the water particles go flowing into it and it fills itself back up. And then down here as well, I've got these, which also come from Thorncraft. So basically, Cube's given me a whole bunch of stuff just to make things a bit more interesting or a bit more simple and not muck around so much. These Arcanelevitators, you just stand in them and up you go. Nice and easy. You can obviously, as you see, set up multiple levels so that you can just keep going up. It's a really cool way to get around the base. Yes, I can fly anyway, but this is just something a little bit different. Oh, look, perfect timing. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the transformation that takes place when you have pure daisies. So anyway, what's the whole point of that? Once you've made these mana pools and that sort of stuff, you can start getting into different advanced types of flowers. So these come from petals, and sometimes you have to dip the petals into the mana pools to create different types of petals that can then be used for flowers, and so on and so forth. It gets pretty in-depth, but Deblooms are the start of the whole thing, and Deblooms basically just gather mana from the sun. So they're a bit like our little crystal thingers over here, but in plant form. And then you have yourself a mana spreader, and it takes the mana that's gathered from these and it fires it off into a mana pool. And then the mana pool is what you use to dip the things in to make the things. So, that so clearly explained with such an expert vocabulary, we'll leave that for now. And I've also got this. Now, this is a bit of a failed experiment. I'm really, really sad about this, because if any of you remember playing Diablo 2, there was a secret cow level, and you could access it by basically chucking a wooden leg into the Herodric Cube. Can't remember if there's anything else you had to use. I think it might have been like a Tome of Town Portal or something like that. Anyway, took you through to a level that was just full of evil cows. These cows had great big pole arms. They tried to kill you. You killed them instead, and you got lots and lots of loot out of it. And apparently Ars Magica actually has a bit of a reference to that, and so you can make out of a wooden leg and your Arcane Compendium this evil looking book. And then you're supposed to take this, and this is a bit of a portal that I've made. I've kind of integrated it into the wall, so you can't really see it as good as you probably should. But there's the keystone up the top, and you just right click on it with your evil looking book, and it creates a portal, and that portal should be red, but it's not. And I can't seem to figure out how to make it red, and nobody else can on the wiki either, so I'm going to say maybe it's just broken. It might just be part of this mod pack. I know when I was looking around at Journey Map, there's no dimension for, what do they call it, Moo Farm or something like that. So if I step into this, all that happens is I get transported straight back out of it. If I had another one of these gateways set up somewhere, like back over at the Enchanting Tower, then it would take me there instead, but I don't. I just set it up because I really wanted to go to the secret cow level, and it doesn't work! Anyway, I think what we'll do now is we will cut to the footage of me playing around with a couple of the new spells, and then we'll come back and, if there's any time left, start playing around with some more of this Botania mod. Okay, so the footage that I had of the little prank I played wasn't very good. It was really hard to try and record over. So instead, we've got Cubepool here, who will be the willing... Well, I mean, willing's probably a stretch. He doesn't know that's going to happen, but he's going to be a participant in our little demonstration of our spells here. So we will fire this off at him right now. And he's gone! Transported to the nether. So what I've got is I've got myself a cool little spell. Basically fires out a area of effect, and within that area of effect, anything that goes inside gets transported straight to the nether. And sometimes that's pretty scary. I've ended up inside walls before as well, which was not good. And I don't know if Cubepool was actually active, so he might have been serving a customer or something. If he dies, it's all my fault. I will claim responsibility for that one. And this guy won't let off. Let's see if we can transport him to the overworld, because I have a spell for that too. Yes, got him! Where is he in the overworld though? I guess we'll find out. Not in the same place I am. That's interesting, because it's only Cube and I on the server, so the ghast shouldn't have despawned. Weird. But yeah, so anyway, this is really handy for getting out of dungeons. It's really handy for, obviously, a quick way to the nether, a little bit of fast travel, and then back out. Although I don't really know if it... I'm not too far away from the castle. Maybe it did transport me to the same place in the nether. And then back. Not sure, but anyway, this is a fun little spell, and if I cast it again when I'm in the overworld, then I get sent back to... Oop. Oh, that's weird. That's better. Then I get sent back to my bed. Which is all the way up here, and normally I don't fall through it. Anyway, just wanted to show you that little couple of spells off. You can see too, I just took a little bit of damage there. There are side effects to using magic, and because I use a lot of ender-based magic, I have a couple of side effects, such as Endermen, for example. They don't like water. Oh, and neither do I. Normally I lose, a couple of hearts. So if I'm in the water or it's raining, I lose a couple of hearts and then they come back as soon as I go out of the water. But now, because I've gotten so affiliated with the Ender aspect, you can see I've got 81.81% affiliation with it now. It also means that I'm allergic to sunlight. So I'm not too sure how I feel about that. I mean, I don't quite know how to stop it, and it's not like I'm dying, but it definitely takes off some max health, which I suppose you're really only fighting mobs in places that are dark most of the time anyway, so it hasn't been an issue yet. But maybe I just need to boost my health a bit to cover it. That could be a solution. Okay, so that is all we're going to have time for in this episode. All of the Botania stuff will come in the next episode. I've done a little bit of recording for that now, and when I was putting it all together in the editing, realized that there's too much of it to stick into this episode without it running into the sort of 40-minute mark, which is just a little bit too long for a lot of people. So we'll put all of that one in the next one, and there's some exciting things coming up if you like flowers. Is all I'll say for now. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.